It's been 8 years since I picked up my life in San Francisco and moved to Barcelona, Spain. I studied abroad in Sevilla and I fell deeply in love with the people, with the culture, with the language, with the lifestyle. I was like, I'm gonna live here. I don't know how, but I'm gonna find a way. In the process, I met my husband. I've got a little kitty named Raymond, and in 2017, we made it happen. Moved to Barcelona and really started my dream life. I'm sharing this because I know there are a lot of you out there who've had these dreams. It could be moving to a new place, or maybe it's that relationship, or it's like multiple aspects of your life where you live, relationships, community, your career, the impact that you want to have. I love the topic of what I call external success meets internal fulfillment. So how can we have the career, the impact, the financial abundance, the home, the things you can see, paired with internal fulfillment, which is, I am so lucky I get to live my life. You feel so alive and that you're really doing what you want to do. I've had a lot of trial and error of figuring out, like, how do you balance these two? How do you find both of these things? Because they can feel mutually exclusive, but they're really not. They actually propel each other. They fuel each other. What I want to do today is introduce myself, share a little bit more about what we'll be doing on the channel, but then also how you can create this version of external success meets internal fulfillment. So, no further ado, I'm Rachel. I'm originally from a really small town in Wisconsin called Chippewa Falls. Here's Raymond. Come say hi, Raymond. This is Raymond. He's also American, but has been here a long time. So he's part Catalan, part Spanish now. But yeah, so I grew up in the middle of nowhere, like literally cornfields around all of my house. And ever since I can remember, I was super curious. It started with reading books to learn sign language. And then once I had a bike, it was going to all of these places as far as I could go, breaking rules around how far I could go. And then I got a horse. It moved into riding and going deep into the state park that was at the end of our street and going into private property. And you're going to notice a theme of breaking rules and challenging status quo. Then I started flying, brought me to Spain, brought me to France, brought me to 30 other countries. And I've always had this question of like, how can I experience as much of the world? Because I don't know what's after this life. So I want to make the most of it, no matter what I do. I want to be able to do those things, those external things, but not at the cost of the internal things. Starting my career in San Francisco, it's amazing. The caliber of people you get to work with, the amount of innovation that you're exposed to, and it's normal there, is incredible. But it also like developed this very hamster wheel mindset that I had of get the next job, make more money, get the promotion, get the X, get the Y, get the Z. And so when we moved to Barcelona, I thought, now I've made it, right? Like I've made my dream, I'll be at ease. And maybe a few months after I'd been here, I was like, so what now? I've achieved my biggest life goal. What do I do? So I went into what I knew, this pattern of let's achieve. So I ended up really doing well for myself professionally, moving exactly into the field I wanted to go into. I went from operations to people and culture and led people and culture at remote startup around the world. And for a long time, I loved it. I had the title, I had the responsibility, I had the impact, I had the financial stability. But on this side, the internal fulfillment side was like, I'm exhausted, I'm burnt out, I have insomnia, I have high functioning anxiety, I'm not actually enjoying this place that I'm living in because I'm so focused on this. And so in 2020, I hit my third cycle of burnout. It was the worst. I had intestinal bleeding, I had insomnia, I had anxiety, and I also had a breakout in shingles because of the level of stress in my job. And this was like a really critical moment for me because I was like, okay, I can't live this way anymore. This is not sustainable. And this isn't why I moved to Spain. This wasn't the goal. I had to get super real with myself. And I spent a couple of years really going deep, changing jobs to one that better fit where I wanted to go, doing therapy, doing coaching, doing all of these things to really work on myself and understand, how do I bring this internal fulfillment to the external success piece? And I thought I had found it. I was working at this startup. I was on an amazing team of these brilliant women. And then as the ecosystem started imploding, so did the startup. My role survived the first reduction in force, and then my role did not survive the second. But there was this really crazy moment. So my boss had put a calendar event on my calendar, and I knew my role was impacted. But the thing that's crazy about that moment was I felt like this weight was lifted, and it was partially because I had been pushing down my intuition around the roles you're in are too small for you, and you're not really doing what you are really meant to do. I felt like only part of me was showing up, and there's so much more that I can contribute to the world. And I had this get real with yourself moment. It's okay, you're feeling relief. And I talked with my coach about it, and I had this choice: go for another people role, or do what you really want, which is to go coaching full time. I had already been coaching for years, but mainly internally, every now and then having a client on the side. But I was like, I really want to do this because I really care about everything I just talked about. How do you create a life that you really love and still be successful, still be able to show up and not have these trade-offs? I chose me. I chose the uncertainty of what it means to become a solopreneur. A month later, my husband was also laid off. And what was crazy about that moment, it was I felt super calm about it. I was like, don't worry, we'll figure it out. And we did. Yeah, so in August 2023 is when I made that choice. Go full-time coaching, become a solopreneur. And it's one of the best things I've done for myself. Has it been one of the more challenging things? Hell yeah. But it's been so cool because it's allowed me to really grow and become a much better leader in the process. I focus so much on leadership development in my job that once you step into solopreneurship, it's really a mirror. You really have to own everything. That has been huge for me. And so this brings us to today, which is I have created this dream life. I've gone through the ups and downs, the trial and error, the burnout, the what I prioritize to. I have a fucking awesome life. I wake up when I feel like it. I go for a walk or a run by the beach. I go have my coffee. I come back. I do my deep work in the morning. Sometimes I meet up with someone for a coffee. And then in the afternoon, I go into my coaching sessions, spend time with my husband, with my friends, like maybe skate, do all of these things that I love. But I feel like I'm at the stage of there's another level waiting for me. And this is something I've really toiled with, because should I just be grateful because I have everything I wanted? Or do I listen to this thing of, I think something else is waiting for you now? After 2 years of trying, Jimmy and I found out we're going to have a baby. And I'm feeling actually emotional about it. What can you expect from this YouTube channel? There are a few things that I'm going to share with you. First, it's going to be documenting my journey. I think it'll be really cool to see what happens from when you find out you're pregnant to when you have birth, and not as much about the pregnancy, but more about like, how am I building my dream life as I'm going through this very transitional stage as a woman. Then I want to also share what I've learned over the past 20 years. I'm really deep into self-development, neuroscience, mindfulness, somatics. Like, we're really bringing in body-mind connection to this channel, and what we can do to connect to ourselves. Most of the time is, how can we exist in all of this? Because this changes everything. When I work with my clients, we slowly move into body-mind connection because it can feel a little weird and uncomfortable because it's not normal for most, and it changes everything. Like, it unlocks intuition, it unlocks self-trust, it unlocks confidence, it unlocks compassion, it unlocks slowing down and space and like really showing up in who you want to be. It's super cool. And then lastly, insights, wisdoms, tools, things to really help you move in that journey of, how do I create external success and internal fulfillment? So how we're going to do this is with a plan. I love plan. They're illusions, but I love them. So this plan is a reflection of the signature program I move my private coaching clients through. There are 4 stages we move through. The first is connect and center. The second is align and attune. The third is listen and lead. And the last is master and maintain. So if you're like, okay, I've got all of these things I want to achieve and I'm not sure how to do it. Or I've achieved all of these external things, but I'm like, okay, so what now? Is this really it? I'm stressed, I'm tired, I'm anxious, I don't feel super fulfilled. This is where I've got you. This is my bread and butter. I think it's so cool. Like, how do we really design a life that holistically supports us in all aspects? So this is how I'm gonna guide you. And it's gonna be a little bit like a game. I love to think about it in the metaphor of a video game. So you're gonna be seeing this come up as we move through the YouTube videos and different tools and resources. The whole idea behind this is for it to be fun. So with no further ado, that's the channel, and it's called Boldly Unbounded. The whole idea behind this is through life, we've taken on these weights that slow us down, that confine us, and the process we're going to be going through together is removing all of those weights, like unbounding ourselves so you can step into who you boldly are and realize the life that you want to have. In our next video, we're going to jump into the journey and we're going to start to create your super inspiring, powerful vision for the life that you want to have. The one where you wake up and you're like, I fucking love my life. All right, I will see you then.